Hey, I'm NichBoy and welcome to Pocket. Now today I'm going to travel to China and kill a bunch of people. Am I talking about a game or what I'm doing after work? You'll have to watch to find out. Assassin's Creed Chronicles China is the latest game from Ubisoft in the Assassin's Creed series. And it's a departure. It's a sort of 2.5D side-scrolling platformer. They've done this before with Assassin's Creed Altair's Chronicles, a game so bad that it's been removed from the iOS App Store and is no longer available for purchase. So they're at it again. Let's dive in and have a look and see if it's as crap as that last one.
Where is the box you took from me?
Far from your reach by now, assassin.
One of your tiger brothers must have it. No matter. I will find which one and retrieve it from his still warm corpse.
So you play as a female assassin during the downfall of the Ming Dynasty. It's a completely different location. We're in China, and it's a much needed departure for the series, I feel. It allows for a lot of more cultural diversity and also just changing up that look. It's just not sort of like the white hood running through heavy populated streets. This is much more minimalistic and a location that you don't really see that much in many games. The art style is the first thing that strikes you, and it's really quite gorgeous. It completely separates it again from the other games. It has a real watercolor painting kind of look to it, as opposed to the sort of super realistic graphics going on. I really love the art. You can see the birds there in the background sort of disappearing into the clouds. Everything has a sort of brush stroke feel, and it really feels much more sort of like an indie game than a giant studio title. The graphics themselves aren't incredible. They do feel a bit flat, which is a shame because I feel like if you applied the same sort of attention to the graphics that they do with the other Assassin's Creed games, you could really make this art style pop. So the design is really nice, but the graphics have left me wanting a bit. But there is a really nice consistency with the art style throughout the whole game. That whole watercolor painting feeling plays across everywhere and it ties into the movement and the combat. There's a really nice feature that when you come and attack somebody, when you swipe your sword, it looks like a sort of brush stroke appears out. And everything about it, it's almost like you leave sort of painterly mistakes around the whole canvas of the game, that everything has little ink dots and little splotches that don't really belong there, but just add a really nice flourish. The action itself is that sort of 2D platforming style, and it's quite satisfying. It is a very big departure from the other games. It's not that sort of open world sandbox. It forces you to go in one direction the whole time, and because of that, this game really feels much more like a stealth game than the other Assassin's Creed games generally have. I mean, in my experience, and I love the Assassin's Creed series, despite its heavy flaws, those games, oftentimes I'll just go, screw it, I'm just gonna jump in and start killing everybody, and that's how I'll deal with this situation. Whereas here, because you are forced to go through this set path, you encounter these enemies all the time, but you're not very strong at all, so you have to hide from everybody all the time. It forces stealth upon you, which is a nice, refreshing change for the game. In fact, I would say it doesn't feel so much like an Assassin's Creed game. It feels much more like something like Mark of the Ninja. It has exactly the same sort of, layout and style, but also the mechanics of the game, they all sort of flow much more from that genre of something, rather than that open world sandboxy, kill everything that moves because you're so powerful and you have all these swords hidden up here. And all your typical stealth mechanics are on display here. Enemies have a cone of vision that if you just step 1 millimeter out, then they can't see you anymore. There are timers where you've killed somebody and a guard wanders along and is like, oh my god, they're dead! And then you just need to hide for 8 seconds and then suddenly the guard's like, yeah, it's probably fine. And there's a lot of hiding behind boxes and hanging off ledges so that no one sees you, and you're going to not want to really let anyone see you because you cannot take that much damage at all, and once you get in a fight, I feel like everything starts going wrong for you right away. The weapons that your character uses, you've got a sword, you've got throwing daggers, you've got lots of sort of trinkets that you throw to distract guards and that sort of thing. But once you do get in a fight, it's pretty much just you and the sword, and you're going to spend a lot of your time blocking attacks. And it's not going to be great when you find more than one guard attacking you at once. You can't really handle more than one enemy, which makes it much more realistic than Assassin's Creed, where you're sort of bouncing between people and they're all just standing there waiting to take their turn, as opposed to just rushing. Just rush me, guys. I can't handle like 14 of you at once. But look, at the end of the day, I'm definitely going to continue playing the game. I've only sunk about an hour and a half into it so far, but I really like the idea of a smaller Assassin's Creed story that isn't weighed down by all the weird mythology that they started putting into it. So far in this game, I haven't been wandering around the Abstergo offices, riding elevators and rifling through people's mail, and that is a good thing, because that is not a game, guys. That's what I do every day. Don't make me do that in the game. And as a fan of the Assassin's Creed world, I feel like that whole universe can sustain multiple stories. It's like Star Wars. You don't always need to be tied to the one story that you started telling. So the fact that we're in China, we're a completely different character, and we're a different kind of story being told, I'm excited to be able to explore this, because having those shorter games, it's just not the fatigue that I'm feeling of going into like 30 hours of weird Abstergo plugging in and discovering my ancestors. Bullshit, if I'm being honest. Bullshit. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode of Pocket. NichBoy out! I'm so glad Desmond's dead. Spoilers, by the way.